Jai Hind all. My name is Babita. I am assistant professor in MCA department at Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. So today I am coming with a lecture in the series of IoT, Internet of Things. This is my first lecture and the code of this subject is BMC 043. And this lecture is more beneficial for the MCA student. Semester is fourth. And let's explore this video. And in this lecture I am just talking about the conceptual view of IoT and what is happen, how can it play an important role in the context of Internet of Things. Let's get started. So basically the understanding about the conceptual framework of IoT, it will tell about a structured approach to building a reliable, scalable IoT systems, and the conceptual framework of an IoT provides a high-level view of its architecture and the components. Basically, in this lecture, in this concept, we will understand the conceptual interrelation between the components in the IoT infrastructure. As we know, Internet of Things, in just we are talking about the interconnection between the things through the internet. So if I am talking about the outlines or the main objective of this lecture, so basically here we are talking about the IoT, what is the IoT and what are the core fundamental of this, and next we will talk about why conceptual framework is important, because something is happened if the conceptual architecture of the IoT is good. And next we will talk about some kind of objectives through this lecture, and through the importance of a conceptual architecture. We have just guidelines and we are just outlined some objectives that we have to achieve, right? And next we will talk about the conceptual framework architecture and it's a layer and the responsibility of each layer. In this lecture we will continue, and at last we are talking about some benefits using in a future. So basically first of all we come to know about the IoT. So IoT stands for Internet of Things. Here we are understand this concept. If I am talking about the prior of this, we are talking about the Internet of Computers, right? Yeah, you are saying the network, and network is nothing but it is a interconnection of the devices, right? Let's say here we have a computer, here we have a mobile, here we have your laptop, right? And here we have some other devices that you want to connect with each other. If I am doing, I am making the connection between these devices, this will make the concept of a network. In if we are talking about here we have some kind of a things. Things may be a chair, things may be a table, things may be a fan, things may be a curtain. If these devices are connecting through the internet, that it will called as a Internet of Things, because in which we are interconnecting, in which we are connecting the all real life objectives and real life object that is maybe anything. It may be a chair, it may be a table, it may be a curtain, it may be a fan, it may be a bulb, it may be a street light. Anything can be interconnected with each other, and this make the form of Internet of Things. So Internet of Things that power smart systems and technologies all around us, because we are surviving in today's era, and this era is more affecting through the technology of internet, right? Just for example, from the Amazon Alexa in your home to smart city planned around the world. And IoT has revolutionized how we work, how we live, and how we connect with another, right? This is the today of internet, right? It also enable to organize remotely monitoring processes, reduce operational expenses, and streamline management of processes and enhance efficiency and productivity. Because if we are automate some machines in the organizations or in industries, so we can improve the work performances of the system and also increase the productivity. So betterly to understand the working, how yeah, you must have a detailed knowledge about the conceptual framework, because everyone wants to know how these particular process is going on and how these things are connecting to each other and what is the scenario working behind it, right? So this particular approach you can understand by understanding the conceptual framework of the IoT, right? So what is the important, yeah, why the conceptual framework is important for the IoT infrastructures, right? So if we are talking about the high failure rate, because the conceptual framework provide a foundation of an IoT infrastructure, of an IoT system, because if a foundation is strong or foundation is good, then the system is also good, because we are working on the basics and we are working on the core concepts of the IoT infrastructures, right? So high failure rate, because if conceptual framework is not good, so there will be the chance of the failure, and the failure is not the limited, but it may be a high rate failure, right? So many IoT projects fail due to the weak planning or poor architectural decisions, not technical limitations. ऐसा नहीं होता है कि देयर विल बी सम फॉल्ट इन अ टेक्निकल या इन अ टेक्निकल टर्म्स, बट दे मे बी द फॉल्ट इन द conceptual architecture. That's why these projects may fall, these projects may fail, right? So next, the security risk. If the conceptual framework is not designed properly or not designed systematically, so it may be suffer, yeah, it may be lack of the security perspectives, right? So without proper framework guidelines, system may face several severe possibility of the security risk and the security vulnerabilities and the integration of the integration problems, right? So this is also the main concept. That's why conceptual framework is very, very important for us, right? Next is a business alignment. So the main motive of this particular concept, the structural framework improve the reliability, reduce the cost, and alignment deployment with the strategical business goals. What is the main perspective of this particular? If the conceptual framework is designed properly and under the guidance of the standards system architectures, so they may sure the more reliability. It may improve the reliability that provided by that particular system, and also reduce the cost, because if your system not designed properly and not designed under guidelines, so may have the chance to more than may have the chance to maintenance, so it will increase the cost of the manufacturing, right? So better alignment and better performance, we have to concern about the core concept of the system, and this core concept is nothing but it is the conceptualization, and it is the foundation values may be achieved through the good conceptual framework. Next, we will talk about the conceptual framework. That means in this slide, we come to know the conceptual framework tells about, yeah, conceptual framework, how it work, right? So the IoT conceptual work is nothing but it is a well-structured environment that defines the interconnection between the diverse technologies. How can we, why we are calling it as a diverse technology? Because here we have more than one technologies that will work to implement the scenario of the IoT. Just for example, here we are talking about some kind of a connectivity technology, right? Here we are talking about some storage technologies, for example, cloud computing, right? Connectivity technologies like Zigbee, like LoRaWAN. So this technology have the integration of some other technology, that's why it is called the diverse technologies, right? And it also explain how data moves through the various stages, because this is not the single layered architecture. Here we are talking about the some other layers. Yeah, you can say it is a layered architecture. It may be a 3-layered architecture, it may be a 4-layer architecture. So every layer defined some different approaches and some different functionalities, and it also ensure and also describe the move through the various stages, right? So through the various stages, that means it will start from the sensory layer and to the application layer, right? So from the between the sensory collection layer and the analysis layer. And next, it also explain how the bridge between the local and physical design of a IoT. And last one, the conceptual framework of IoT is divided into 4-layer architecture. That means in this video, I am talking about the 4-layer architecture. For example, yes, 4-layer architecture. Here we have a first layer, that is the very first layer, that is a sensing layer, and it is also called the physical object or a sensor and actuator layer, right? And also called as a perception layer, because it will interact with the real environment, it will interact with your surroundings, right? And next layer have a network layer, and this layer is mainly responsible to carry the data over the internet, right? And in which we are talking about some gateways, and in which we are talking about some enable yeah, you can say the technology that enables the network layer, right? And last one, second layer is a third layer is a data processing layer, and it is also called the data analysis layer, and in which we are talking about the processing unit, data analysis, and decision unit. And last one, we have the layer 4, that is the application layer, and it is nothing but it is the some user interface layer, in which we are talking about some smart applications and management, right? So here the architecture, and this architecture will discuss in the next slides in the context of conceptual architecture, right? The main objective of the conceptual architecture or framework of an IoT, the main perspective, main objective of this topic is to talk about the data collection, because we are working at the different layers or different stages. So each stage or each layer is have the special responsibility. Just for example, the layer first is mainly responsible for data collection. It enables seamless gathering of the information from physical environment through the sensor and the embedded systems, right? And next, the next layer, or we can say the next objective of this concept is provide the secure communication, because we are working on a Internet of Things. All things are connecting through the internet, and as you know very well, internet is not the secure platform. It is a open source, or anyone can access from anywhere at any time. So the important the main approach, that why we are secure our data that is transferred through the one node to another node. So ensure the reliability and ensure the security or of the transmitted data between the connecting devices across the network. This is also the main objective of studying this particular concept. Next approach, or we can say the next objective of this concept, is the data processing. If we are collecting some data, if we are transferring some data, so there is a point of view we are using that particular data for a particular decision. Yeah, we wants to use that data in a some approach. That's why we can analyze some things, we can provide some results, and these results is generated by analyzing, by processing that data. Because data is collecting in a raw fact, it may have some redundancy, it may have some duplicate data, so there is a need to process that particular data, and we are filtering the important information from the collecting raw data, right? So process and analyze data efficiently. That means we are extracting some meaningful insights and patterns for decision making and for analysis, right? And next we have the objective actionable insights. So in this we are talking about some deliver valuable and actionable intelligent to user and the system for informed decision making. What is the main purpose? Actionable insights. Actionable insights, that means we are talking about just the main concepts on which we make on the basis of that particular insights we make some decisions for a further processing, right? So these are the objectives that is achieved through the conceptual framework of the IoT. So one by one we are talking about the layer of the conceptual framework. The first one is the device layer, sensing layer, perception layer. As you say anything among these three names, what these three names are. First one is a sensing layer, perception layer, or you can say the device layer, right? So ultimately this is very familiar, or this is very directed layer to the user, because this layer is responsible taking the input, collecting the data from your surroundings. For example, in our surroundings, air will be there, temperature will be there, humidity will be there, and the suffocation will be there. Yeah, you can say the dust is there. So all things are connecting through the devices, and these devices is nothing but it is a sensor. So for the different perspectives, we have a different sensor devices, and these sensor devices are responsible to collecting the information about that particular environment, right? If we are talking about the temperature, so we are using here sensor, temperature sensor, and this sensor device is mainly responsible to collecting the information about the temperature. So this is the physical foundation, or you can say the physical layer that represent the physical foundation of the IoT system, and where the technology meets the real world, right? And it includes the sensor, actuators, and embedded hardware that are interconnecting directly with the physical environments to gather the data and execute that particular data for making some decisions and for performing some actions, right? Common example we are taking to understand that particular layer functionality. For example, temperature sensors and humidity sensors are mainly responsible to collect the information about the temperature. If we are taking the input from before 1 hour, it may have some temperature inputs, right? And it will fluctuate every second, every minute, every hours. So, for example, GPS sensors are responsible to receive the location of the location of the objects. It may be a car, it may be a person, it may be an animal, anything else. We are taking the location, we are tracking the location of that particular object through the motor controllers, and the relays is controlled by the motor sensors, right? And the camera and the imaging system is implement, or you can say the collect information through the CCTV camera, or you can say the sensor camera. The next layer is a connectivity layer. This is also called the transport layer, and this layer deals with the all physical devices that are included in the framework of the IoT, or you can say the active interconnectivity between them, because this layer is play an important role between the sensor devices, because these sensors devices are connecting with each other through a particular connectivity technology. It may be a Wi-Fi, it may be a 5G cellular, it may be a LoRaWAN, it may be a Zigbee. So basically, if we are using a Wi-Fi, it means we are implementing a very high speed or short range wireless communication for home and offices environment, because Wi-Fi provide a very high speed transmission rate, or it will usable for only the short range communication. If we are going for a high, or you can say the long range communication, that we will move on a 5G cellular, and it will provide the high bandwidth connectivity for a mobile and wide area application. Why we are calling it as a high bandwidth? Because if we are using for a long range, so that means we have a long distance between, and the long distance, that means it not talk about the flat surface. It may be some buildings, it may be hills, it may be some other obstacles. So the high bandwidth connectivity is required to provide the seamless communication between these devices. Let's say the sender is here and receiver is here. If your surface is flat, it will conveniently transfer the data. But if your receiver is here, that means it will may lose some frequencies or lose some spectrums, so it will lost some signals, and that's why the connectivity weak may weak and at the receiver side. So basically, for a high for a long range and for a seamless communication, we are using high bandwidth connectivity. If we are talking about the long range as well as low power, because in this the power is consumed as compared to high of LoRaWAN, right? So LoRaWAN is a low power long range protocols for a battery operated devices access kilometers, right? It will more usable, and it will very popular connectivity technology for a battery powered devices, right? Next, we will talk about the Zigbee, and Zigbee is more beneficial, or this particular connected technology is useful for a mass networking in which we have a particular deployment, or you may called as a connections between devices in such manner, you can say the multiple connections, right? So here we have the more than one connections between these devices. So it is a mass networking or mass connectivity between devices, and it will more beneficial for reliable and low power communication between devices, right? And next we have the data processing layer, and in this layer we are talking about the data storage, because this layer combines the functionality of more than one layers, right? At this layer we are collecting data, At the perception layer, we are collecting data, and at the transport layer, or you can say the connectivity layer, we are provide the communication between all devices that are included in this IoT infrastructure. At that situation, or at that place, we have the responsibility which we are which we are collecting from the physical layer. Now we will store that data, right? So data storage is the one of the responsibility that is performed by this layer. And after collecting and after storing this particular data, we are fetching some insights, or you can say the meaningful information, that is called as a processing. And processing is nothing but it is a filtering, right? Which is the important or which is not important, yani ki usable or not usable data is separated at this layer. So basically this layer is mainly responsible for doing data storage and data analysis through the some ML or AI technology or algorithms, and at last we are transferring at the cloud, right? Or you can say the edge, right? So at this layer, we are storing data in a secure repositories for a structured or unstructured information. That means we are classifying this collected data into the structured data or unstructured data, right? And next level of this particular layer is to classify by using some intelligent algorithms, or by using some machine learning algorithms. We are identifying the patterns or predict outcomes, because this particular data we are using for making some decision and taking some decision against the perspectives, right? Yeah, the task which we want to implement, right? And at last, when we are classifying and we are predicting something on the basis of previous outcomes, on the basis of collected informations, now we will transfer that particular information for a deployed where it will need. Let's suppose we have more than one data, or you can say all these devices are connecting, all these things are connecting with each other through the internet, and we have the requirement of that particular information for doing something. So basically this information is shared through the cloud only to this particular application. So where we have the requirements, we are sharing that information only. That is called as an edge. Edge matlab the exact information that we have to need at that time, right? We are not talking about the